Welcome back to Only Talk Sports, and today we have the Big Ten football preview in 2022. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this. So we got the Big Ten. They have 14 teams. They're going to be adding USC and UCLA in 2 years, but for now we're going to break down the 14 teams that are currently in the Big Ten, and we'll see what we got. First, I've got Indiana, Tom Allen. He brought IU to great heights in 2019 and 2020, the 6-2 season. In 2020, they were really good, and then they fell off the map last year, 2-10 injuries. They got Connor Bazelak at quarterback since Michael Penix transferred to Washington. They got Bazelak coming in from Missouri. Sean Shivers, a transfer running back coming in from Auburn. And Tyvon Mullen, a returning corner that's really good. But I still got them missing a bowl game. I got them going 5-7. I think they have some talent there to push for a bowl, but I think they have way too many tough games on their schedule to get there. I got them losing at Cincinnati, at Nebraska, Michigan, Penn State, at Ohio State, at Michigan State, and lost to the rival Purdue. Next, we have Maryland. I got Maryland, Mike Locksley. He's been struggling his first few seasons, but he had a breakthrough last year going 7-6 and winning a bowl game for Maryland for the first time in almost 10 years. Talia Tagovailoa, to his brother. He's gotten better every single season, and they got a deadly duo at receiver in Dante Demas and Jacob Copeland. But still, I got them going 6-6 because they also have a tough schedule with losses at Michigan, Michigan State, at Indiana, at Wisconsin, at Penn State, and Ohio State. Next, we have Michigan. Jim Harbaugh, he's been pretty consistent there. He had a bad season in 2020, but beside that, he's been really good. Last year, really redeemed himself, and they made the college football playoff. I got them going 10-2. K. McNamara and J.J. McCarthy, they're going to use both quarterbacks. K. McNamara is more conservative. J.J. McCarthy's more explosive, but they're going to use both. Blake Corum at running back, he's very talented. They got a great defense, even though they lost a lot to the NFL. I got them losing at Iowa and losing at Ohio State. Next, we have Michigan State. Mel Tucker, he really revitalized Michigan State after the Mike D'Antonio era was really ending, and he was struggling. But now Mel Tucker's brought them back after a struggling first season, and they went 11-2 last year with Kenneth Walker at running back. They do lose him. They brought in a couple transfer running backs. Peyton Thorne at quarterback's really good, and Jaden Reed at wide receivers returning, and he's really good. I got them going 8-4 with losses to Ohio State, at Michigan, at Penn State, and Wisconsin. Next, we have Ohio State. Ryan Day is just continuing to do what Urban Meyer's doing. They always have like the best, recruiting classes in the conference. They're getting a lot of the best players. The trio of C.J. Stroud, quarterback, Travion Henderson at running back, and Jackson Smith and Jigba at wide receiver is deadly. All Heisman potential candidates. I got them going 11-1 with a loss at Penn State. Next, we have Penn State. James Franklin, he's been really struggling lately. Before that, he was doing really good the last two seasons. He's been 500 ever since that loss to Indiana in 2020. But I think they're going to do better this year. Sean Clifford in his sixth season and final season at quarterback, he's pretty decent. But they got a freshman named Drew Ayler at quarterback who could push him, but I think Sean Clifford will keep the job the whole season. And Parker Washington at wide receiver is a really good player, but I got them losing at Michigan, at Auburn, at Purdue, and against Minnesota to finish 8-4. Next, we have Rutgers. Greg Schiano, he's a really good coach. He was at Rutgers back in the 2000s when they were in the Big East, and he did better. But now they're in the Big Ten. It's harder, and Rutgers is a much tougher job than it was before. He's got a decent quarterback, Noah Vedral. He did bring in a good freshman named Gavin Wimsatt, but Noah Vedral will be their starting quarterback. I got them going 5-7 with losses at Boston College, at Ohio State, lost to Indiana, lost at Maryland, lost to Penn State, lost at Michigan State, and lost at Minnesota. Next, we have Illinois. Brett Bielema, he had the stints at Wisconsin after Barry Alvarez and did really good. He struggled at Arkansas, and now he's got a job at Illinois. He's got his work cut out for him because Illinois is a tough place to win. Tommy DeVito coming in from Syracuse, decent quarterback. I think that he'll definitely elevate their quarterback play from what it was last year. It was not very good. Isaiah Williams is a guy that they used to have at quarterback. They moved to wide receiver. He's kind of a do-it-all type player. Very talented player. I still got him going 5-7 with losses at Indiana, at Wisconsin, at Michigan, at Nebraska, lost to Iowa, lost at Nebraska, and lost to Michigan State. Next we have Iowa. Kirk Ferentz, the longest tenured coach in the country. He's really good. He's, kept Iowa very consistent, 8-4 type program. Sometimes they're better, sometimes they're a little worse. I got them going 8-4 again. Spencer Petras, he's a decent quarterback, but he's not elite at all. He just gets the job done. They've had great running backs in the past. They're going to have to replace Tyler Goodson, though, this year. Riley Moss is a great defender. He always getting pick sixes and stuff. I got him going 8-4 with losses at Rutgers, at Ohio State, at Purdue, and at Minnesota. Next, we have Minnesota. P.J. Fleck, their coach, he's definitely made Minnesota a pretty decent program. They've been improving. They struggled the last couple of years, but in 2019 they went 11-2 and beat Auburn in a big bowl game. Tanner Morgan at quarterback, he's been, really good in 2019. They lost all those receivers to the NFL, been struggling, but they did bring in their offensive coordinator back that made them really good in 2019, so I think they're going to improve. I got Minnesota losing to Colorado, at Michigan State, at Illinois, at Nebraska, and at Wisconsin. Next, we have Nebraska. Scott Frost has to win this year. He's in must-win mode. Winning, keeping his job is vital for him, because if not, he's going to get fired. Casey Thompson brought him in from Texas at quarterback. O'Shawn Mathis, a defensive end from TCU, and Kane Williams bringing in a safety from Alabama, and many other transfers they brought in. They're doing everything they can to win. Nebraska's using NIL to their full advantage. I got them going 7-5 this year, so it's going to be an improving year for Scott Frost, with losses to Oklahoma, at Rutgers, at Michigan, loss to Wisconsin, and loss at Iowa. Next, we have Northwestern. Pat Fitzgerald, he's an elite coach. He's done a great job at Northwestern, but the last few years have been disastrous. Ever since 2020, they've struggled, and they have not done well since. Ron Helinski at quarterback, former quarterback at South Carolina, he has not been getting the job done there, but they don't have another quarterback that's better, so I think they're going to be stuck with him, and I think they're going to go 3-9 and lose all their conference games. Next, we have Purdue. Jeff Brom, he's been a decent coach. He's gotten Purdue to a few bowl games, which is what they want. Unfortunately, last couple years they weren't very good, but then last year they had a great season, going 9-4 and beating Tennessee on a controversial ending. They had a great season for them. Aiden O'Connell, he's a really great quarterback. They do lose wide receiver talent David Bell, and they lose George Karlaftis on the defense, but I think they're still going to be a decent team. Maybe it's a little bit of a step back at 6-6, though, with losses at Syracuse, at Minnesota, at Maryland, lost to Nebraska, lost at Wisconsin, and lost at Illinois. And last, we have Wisconsin. Paul Chryst, he's continued to do what Barry Alvarez has built and what Brett Bielema will continue to do at Wisconsin. Unfortunately, Graham Mertz at quarterback, he has not been very good. He's been definitely below what people thought he was going to be coming in as a 4-star recruited quarterback, but they have an elite defense. They got good running backs, a great offensive line, so I think they're still going to be really good. And compounded with that, they have a fairly weak schedule, so I got them going 10-2 with losses at Ohio State and at Iowa. I have Ohio State winning the Big Ten East, and I have Wisconsin winning the Big Ten West, and we already know what's going to happen. I have Ohio State winning the Big Ten again, even though they lost to Michigan last year and didn't make the Big Ten, but they made it every year before that. I got Ohio State making it again. Even though you like more competition in the Big Ten, unfortunately, it is Ohio State's conference to lose almost every single season. They have the best team by far. There's a few questions on defense, but their offense, Wisconsin's not going to be able to stop it. So I have Ohio State winning the Big Ten this year in 2022. Comment down below what you think about the Big Ten, whether I got my picks right, if you think somebody else can beat Ohio State or not. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this. Like this video, and I'll see you next time.